Welcome to Eating Smart in Buncombe County. I'm Marjorie Vestal, and we're here to share some ideas about how you and your family can eat smarter and healthier in the face of rising food prices. One way that you can keep your food quality high without breaking your piggy bank is to grow some of your own food. And a great way to get started with gardening and orcharding is to team up with some already existing gardening and orcharding projects. Today, we're going to visit several places around the county to see how some of these community and gardening orchard projects are going. They could sure benefit from some of your support, and you could benefit by bringing home some fresh food to your family. Let's go first to Monford Park in downtown Asheville. At Monford Recreation Center in downtown Asheville, and I'm here with Bill Whipple, who stewards this park. Hey Bill, how are you doing today?
Marjorie, I'm good.
Good.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, no problem. So Bill, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on here at the Monford Recreation Center? How are you creating some edible landscapes and some community orcharding projects here?
Well, this park was planted along with the edible park about 10 or 12 years ago, so we have some large trees here. And we've also been raising some money through some other efforts to plant some new trees. And one of the latest things we've done is we've found that there's a really nice microclimate in this stark landscape here against the building. We have a pavement and we have a cement wall on a south face, very hot here, so we've planted a fig. And yes, figs can grow here. Most people don't think they can. They actually do quite well if you find a nice sunny spot for them. Kids love the figs.
So this little small fig tree will eventually have enough figs that kids who come and visit the park can easily reach out and grab a fig without having to get a ladder out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Actually, I find that at the edible park, the trees that are the grass is beaten down the most are the fig trees because everybody's walking around looking for ripe figs. And not only that, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to propagate from that tree. We'll take branches from that fig and we'll go to the schools and the kids will propagate the figs and we'll just keep planting figs out from that one mother plant.
So you took an opportunity to turn a stark urban environment with cement and tar into a microclimate that grows edible food.
Absolutely, and education and nutrition and aesthetics all together in one place where there was none.
And you've done some projects with the Isaac Dixon kids. Could you show us a little bit more about some of those projects?
Sure, I'd love to. It's over here.
Okay. So Bill, can you tell me a little bit about the relationship between Monford Recreation Center and some of the school kids?
Well, that's the really exciting part, Marjorie. Working out in the park, one of my favorite things to do is the teacher will contact me if they want to bring their kids to the park, and usually they want to interact with the park some way, either help with a service program or just maybe they have a class in science that they want to follow up, like I mentioned earlier. So one of in proximity to the rec center here is Isaac Dixon, and they're very involved. They have a very active school gardening program, and the teachers will bring a classroom. They just walk here, so a few blocks away, so they're getting some good exercise walking here.
Yeah, it's good.
And then what we'll have a big pile of dirt piled up here of mulch that the city brought us. And the parents will bring wheelbarrows. The parents are very much involved too. They'll bring wheelbarrows, and the kids will be shoveling in dirt or mulch, and we'll be mulching the trees. You can see we have cardboard and then mulch on top of the cardboard to conserve water and build the topsoil here, which will ultimately be better for the trees.
So you have some kids in the neighborhood getting some exercise. They're getting out into nature.
Yes.
They're learning a little bit about ecology, about orcharding, that sort of thing, about probably some biology woven in there as well. Sounds like teachers are involved, parents are involved, and you're supported by the community.
Yeah, and don't forget the huge empowerment piece of kids getting involved raising their own food, to put dirt on a tree and then come back a year later and pick an apple off that tree. Just really empowers those kids that they have a say in what they do. It's what they do is meaningful.
Wow, that's a really interesting project. Is Isaac Dixon the only area school that's doing something like that?
No, Vance Elementary comes out to the edible park too, and they've donated some plants. I asked the kids to bring $1 from lunch money, and they all pile their money up, and we go buy a plant. I've got a wish list, and they pick a plant off the wish list that they want to plant, and we plant that.
What are some of their favorite plants?
Well, fig, of course. They were very interested in a pomegranate. We didn't have pomegranate. They really like the exotic ones. They want bananas and oranges and stuff.
Coconuts.
Exactly.
Well, Bill, we're still in inner city Asheville, but it's looking kind of wild. Where are we and what's growing here?
Well, we're at the edge of the rec center, Marjorie, and I've decided to plant some natives here. Plants that are indigenous to this area. They do very well. They're very drought resistant, they're frost resistant, and they have much lower maintenance needs. So what we've got here is we've got a serviceberry, which has a delicious berry in June. We've got an elderberry, which will come on later, and it's also a great insectary. It brings in lots of pollinators and native insects. And we have this pawpaw tree that a lot of people have heard about, but have never had one. We're planting a lot of pawpaws around, and they're incredibly nutritious. They're used in cancer research and a number of other research areas.
So we've got pawpaw, elderberry, and serviceberry, and those are all things that grow locally, natively, and people who've been here in western North Carolina for a long time are probably familiar with them, but they may not have seen them growing in an urban park.
That's right. We're also doing persimmons and mulberries, are also other great native trees to incorporate. Pecans as well, and certain varieties of walnuts.
And these look pretty small, so how long will it be before they'll actually be fruiting?
Well, we planted these last year, and they've had some pretty dry, we've had 2 droughty years, so we're relying heavily on enthusiastic volunteers that want to come out, and instead of going to the gym, they come and haul buckets of water.
And mulch, right?
And mulch, and get a good workout. So we're getting a lot of good exercise and a lot of good health just growing the trees even before the fruits are done.
Gardening is good exercise.
It is.
Yes, it is.
So what we've been doing is we've been raising money through education, doing workshops, and we've been planting trees in other places around town. We've planted trees at Isaac Dixon School, we've planted trees at Hall Fletcher, Vance Elementary, Pisgah View got some trees from us this year. So we've been spreading these trees around.
And if people would want to get involved, Bill, when you say we, what's the organization that they could contact if they wanted to get involved in this tree planting program of yours?
You could contact Quality Forward. It's a nonprofit organization that plants trees in town, and we work with them.
Okay, great. So Pisgah View is an interesting new community garden.
Oh yeah, that's a great place. You ought to go there.
Okay.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
And you can check out some of the trees that we planted there.
All right. Well, thanks. It has been fun.
Good.
And not a lot of work for me.
Good.
Has been a lot of fun.
Good.
Thanks for being with us and sharing what's going on here at the Monford Recreation Center.
Well, thanks for coming out, Marjorie, and I hope to see you all come out here sometime.
Community gardens and orcharding projects preserve open spaces and help to keep our rural and urban communities vibrant and healthy places to live. Welcome back to Eating Smart in Buncombe County. I'm Marjorie Vestal, and I'm here at the Pisgah View Community Peace Gardens. We're going to take a look at what's growing here in Pisgah View and hope that we can inspire some folks from around the county to also grow some of your own food, especially now as food prices have been rising so high. Let's talk to Bob White, who manages the Pisgah View Community Peace Garden. So I'm here with Jacob Harvin and Bob White, who manage the Pisgah View Community Peace Garden. How y'all doing today?
Doing great.
Good to see you. It's a beautiful August day, and it looks like you got a pretty bountiful harvest here in Pisgah View. Bob, could you tell us a little bit about the Pisgah View Community Peace Garden?
Sure. Garden started last year, early June. Just had an inspiration to do a community garden. With all the talk about sustainable organic agriculture, I thought that this would be a real good fit for this community. Have a lot of people here who subsist on food stamps and, you know, don't eat necessarily organic food, but would like to, but the price is so high.
Right.
So we decided we'd start a garden, try to bring the price down, and make the food available for people, give them a chance to try something new and something healthy.
Well, that's great. So affordability for some folks here in Pisgah View.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you have any kids involved?
Yeah, last year we had 45 children involved.
Wow.
It was absolutely chaos down here.
45 kids, I guess it was
45
chaos.
kids, yeah.
All over the place.
All everywhere. And, but, you know, as it unfolded, we realized that a lot of adults weren't getting involved, and one of the main reasons was that there wasn't an economic incentive.
Okay.
So we decided that, you know, we wanted to get the adults involved as well as the children, and we tried to figure out a way that we could bring income into the community through the garden. So we had the bright idea of doing a so-called tailgate garden market this year, and it's going absolutely amazingly well.
Okay, so now
And
you're selling your produce.
Selling produce, we're able to generate some income, pass it on to some residents that come down here on a voluntary basis, but when we can, we give them a stipend.
Okay.
And that's made a big difference this year.
Getting more people involved.
Absolutely.
So what are you growing here, Jacob?
Oh Lord, we got corn, squash, we got peas, we got most everything. Collard greens,
carrots,
beets, we got
radish,
about everything you can name in the market.
kohlrabi,
yeah, everything.
some everything.
Everything.
And folks who come and work in the garden, are they able to take some of this produce home, feed their families?
Oh yeah, oh yes ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All they gotta do is come out and show us somebody that they care, that like we do, and that's all they gotta do. Come on out here and show they care, that they care about it.
Show that they care, yeah.
That's right.
And so what if you want to get involved with community gardening, but you just never gardened before, you don't know how?
Well, we will teach you.
No problem. Last year, June, I had no experience in gardening. It was my first garden, and you see the results.
I see the results.
so,
Amazing. You
yeah.
got corn here. It's about what, 15?
About 15,
feet high.
12 to 15.
12,
yeah.
15 feet tall.
And part of our commitment to the community is whatever we learn. We've gone to several workshops at the Center for Participatory Change and Heifer International, along with Bountiful Cities, West Riverside Weed and Seed Operation, have all helped us go to different conferences. So as we learn, we pass it on to the community.
So there's a lot of resources here in Buncombe County to help folks learn how to garden, how to grow their own food if that's their desire.
Yes.
Right.
One amazing things is how willing people are to help. Once the word went out that we're trying to start this garden, we had help from everywhere. There have been with Warren Wilson, Bountiful Cities Project, Heifer International, Center for Participatory Change, Weed and Seed, individuals from the community, Earth Haven Eco Village, Bill Whipple, just people have come and just offered resources and knowledge and just hands-on work. It's just been amazing. I love Buncombe County.
Gotta love Buncombe County.
Love Buncombe County.
Yeah.
I can't forget the Housing Authority allowing us to do this project and providing water and power for our greenhouse. It's just amazing.
I'm here with Bob's wife, Lucia. And Lucia, you help out here in the garden.
Yes.
Along with your 3 children, 3
Yes,
girls.
3 daughters.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's fantastic. So I hear that y'all had a bumper crop of tomatoes.
Yes, very abundant crop of tomatoes this year.
What'd you do with them all?
Well, besides selling some of them, to backtrack a little bit, we wanted to see some healthy cooking classes offered here in the community. And so the first class we had, Kathy Cleary came and taught from the West End Bakery. She came and taught that one. And our second class we had last night. And we decided that we would really, really love to learn how to can tomatoes.
Oh,
so
canned tomatoes.
the extra tomatoes we had, we went ahead and started canning those.
Oh,
which
that's
was
fantastic.
exciting. We had a great turnout of people. And
How many
children.
varieties of tomatoes did you grow?
Let's see. There had to be 3.
3 different
Yeah.
varieties.
And what was especially interesting about last night is just the zeal that I saw with the children.
Oh.
Because I think that I know that it was amazing to a lot of kids last year in the community that had never seen tomatoes grow on a plant. They had only seen them in cans from the grocery store.
Right, or ketchup,
And so,
something like that.
Right, exactly, ketchup. And so to see their faces when they realized that we were taking fresh tomatoes and canning them ourselves, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was like a miracle to them. Wow,
Yeah,
so that's where my
definitely.
food comes
Yes,
from.
exactly.
Right here
Exactly.
in the garden
Yep.
near
And-
the apartments where I live.
Exactly, in my own community. And so and also you know, we wanted to talk to the residents about stocking up for the winter. With all the economic crisis going on in this country, and already being low-income people and trying to keep your head above water, it's especially important during this time to be able to know how to preserve food, just in case. You never know with the food prices on the rise and everything. So it was really beautiful, and I really look forward to seeing what we do next time.
So were a lot of residents from here at Pisgah View Apartments involved and excited about learning how to grow and can their own food? Yes,
they definitely were. They definitely were. Some of the residents had the experience only of seeing like their grandparents do that, but they had an experience as a child. They could have a vague recollection of what it's like to can your own tomatoes. Exactly.
And so bringing it back again.
Definitely.
And right here in your community center.
Yeah, and some of the residents had never had the experience of even seeing that done. Also, some of the residents had grandparents who owned farms or had small gardens, but they never had the hands-on experience of growing their own food. Whereas some residents had never seen food grown. You know, they'd only gone to the grocery store, and their mothers and fathers had gone to the grocery store. And
this program here in Pisgah View of growing and preserving your own food, is that something that you see growing and expanding?
I definitely do. I definitely do. We hear so often about the local food movement, about sustainable agriculture, about the food crisis. And in the country alone, you know, in this country, but I think that it's starting to become such a big thing and so important and so vital that it's kind of spilling over into communities where it would seem less likely that people would be interested or aware of those issues, and the low-income community is a part of that. They recognize the need for keeping it local and sustaining themselves.
Yeah, and starting with the children. This is your daughter right here.
This is Amara.
Hey, Amara. How's it going?
And interestingly, her nickname is Bean.
Bean. People who eat more produce are also more likely to have healthy body weights. Eating a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables provides a wide range of nutrients and fiber. Eating plenty of produce is a great way to eat smart while adding color, taste, and variety to our diets. Growing your own food also provides an added safety measure for your family. Did you know that produce that is grown and harvested and served to your family the same day has far fewer food safety or contamination risks? Food that travels long distances often passes through many handlers, multiple trucks, or storage spaces, while fresh, homegrown food is safer, more nutritious, and tastier. The average meal in the United States travels 1,300 miles before reaching your plate. A head of lettuce traveling from California to North Carolina uses 36 times more fossil fuel energy in transport than it provides in food energy. Welcome back to Eating Smart in Buncombe County. I'm Marjorie Vestal, and I'm here at the Black Mountain Community Garden. I'm here with Janet Jones, who is the Service Learning Facilitator for Warren Wilson College, and I'm also here with Dr. Wilson. Dr. Wilson is a retired pediatrician, a lifetime gardener, and the founder of this community garden. How are y'all doing today?
Good. Very well. Busy.
Yeah. What's going on here, Dr. Wilson? How did this garden get started?
When I woke up after 5 heart bypasses about 15 years ago, my wife said, "You're going to have to slow down." At that time, I had a garden on Lake Tomahawk in Black Mountain. I said, "We'll make that a community garden." So that was the beginning of the Black Mountain Community Garden, which is part of Black Mountain Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
When we sold our house 4 years ago, the city said we could use this land, which is the Clevenger property, the old Clevenger sock factory, which is now the indoor sports complex, the Gray Eagle soccer complex, dodgeball complex. So we now have half an acre here. It's divided into 64 plots, 50 feet long and 8 feet wide.
Okay.
Half of them are individual families who raise their own vegetables. Half of them are communal plots where volunteers from Warren Wilson, the Montessori school, the 4th graders from the Montessori school, the kids from the Learning Community School, 16 middle schools have a class here every week, all during school.
Wow.
Those students in the past 4 years have raised over 10,000 pounds of fresh vegetables for needy families in the Swananoa Valley.
10,000 pounds?
Over 5 tons in the last 4 years that goes to the Christian ministries who distributed to about 200 needy families, goes to Swananoa Christian Ministry, Swananoa Methodist Church at the soup kitchen there, the welcome table.
So are you saying that from this little half-acre site here in Black Mountain, you're feeding 200 families in need with 5 tons of vegetables every year?
In the 4 years, over 5 tons.
4 years.
We harvest. We have some ladies come down every Tuesday. Last Tuesday they harvested 110 pounds, and half of it went to the Methodist Church in Swananoa, where families pick it up. Half of it went to the Christian ministries, where families pick it up. Once a month it goes to Carver School, where 40 families come in and pick it up. We also give these families who need food vouchers, and they can come pick their own.
Wow. So one of the major goals of the Black Mountain Community Garden is to feed families in the Swananoa Valley.
That's right.
And another goal is to involve Warren Wilson college students. Is that right, Janet?
That's right. In the service learning department, not only can our students earn community service hours, which is a requirement, 100 hours for graduation at Warren Wilson, but many students who are involved in sustainable agriculture projects around the world have learned from Dr. Wilson what they know. Many of our students went on to become teachers who have a school garden and use it to teach science and math. We also use what we've learned from Dr. Wilson in some of our very special programs. For example, at Owen Middle School, in their day treatment program, the students with behavioral problems and mental illness diagnoses are using the garden to find success in the school environment. And not only that, but they're taking home nutritional knowledge and sharing it with their families. And they come back with stories of cooking the squash for the first time, eating the squash. And so they're able to learn nutritional value, work ethic, many, many things. And this is all an extension of Dr. Wilson's work, because here in the garden, these students study maybe even only a semester with Dr. Wilson in this project, and then they go back and they take those ideas, and they are seeds of their own that are blossoming all over the planet from the things they've learned here in Black Mountain.
So this community garden is a living classroom. Living classroom for elementary school kids, living classroom for college students, a living classroom for families who want to learn how to garden for themselves.
Last year we had a contest to see, took 6 beds and gave them to 6 different groups, middle schoolers and Warren Wilson students, to see who could raise the most between school starting in September and school is out in May.
Nice healthy competition.
2 Warren Wilson students won that contest, and it was interesting. The next semester they went to India and taught gardening.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
That's fantastic.
And those stories are so numerous, because students, not only from our environmental programs, are learning here and the obvious connections, but our psychology students, our sociology students are also learning much about community and how gardening can be used to build community. We took it to New Orleans when we worked in New Orleans to start community gardening in New Orleans after Katrina.
So in addition to providing food for families, in addition to providing learning opportunities, community garden is also a way of building social relationships.
Exactly. One of the most successful ways, I believe, for community to build, we've seen, don't you, is around the garden. People of many diverse interests, like when we had the homeless ladies out here, remember?
Yeah, they had their own bed. The homeless ladies planted a bed and raised a big plot of fresh vegetables, which they shared with others.
Are you seeing more and more folks getting involved in community gardening? Is it expanding?
This is part of Black Mountain Recreation Parks, and just this year, last year we had about 6 families. This year we have 32 families, private families. So it's many families are finding that with the price of food, they want to raise some of their own. So we have a lot more individual families.
So it's jumped from 6 families last year to 36.
32 this year.
32 this year. That's fantastic. Well, let's go take a look at the garden. All right. Welcome back to Eating Smart in Buncombe County. I'm here at the Black Mountain Community Garden with Katie Towner. How's it going, Katie?
Pretty good.
Good. Katie, what do you do for the town of Black Mountain?
Well, I'm the Health Services Program Administrator, which means that I oversee all of the health and wellness activities for the town. So I work with the Black Mountain Community Garden, the school gardens, I work with Greenways and the Black Mountain Health Initiative, anything that's really about getting people active, getting them eating healthy in Black Mountain.
All right. Well, you've got a beautiful garden here, Katie.
Thanks.
What's going on here today?
Well, we've got 50 students, freshman students from Warren Wilson College. This is their service day, and this is one of 6 sites in the town that they're working on, getting us ready for the fall, planting some crops, seeding, tilling, all kinds of great work down here. It's really, really helpful because the garden definitely depends on these big groups of volunteers.
So you've got a great big group of volunteers today, and what kind of things are you harvesting right now?
Harvesting, we've got tomatoes and okra, corn, peppers. Gosh, so much going on right now. Potatoes, getting ready for some of the pumpkins and winter squash. We've got lots of fall or summer squash right now too. Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So, and what will happen to all these vegetables? Where will they go?
Well, some of them, half the plots here are maintained by people who in the community who rent them. So they will go to their own families or their neighbors, their own tables. The other half will go to Swannanoa Valley Christian Ministries or the Welcome Table in Swannanoa. And if there's a big surplus, they'll go to Manna Food Bank. And we work with those different agencies every week. They get dropped off, they get the produce, they get recipes sometimes, so people can really learn what to do.
Now, Katie, you probably know, here it is in August, and food prices are getting kind of high.
Yeah.
Right? And if folks wanted to learn, people maybe live in the Swannanoa Valley or in Black Mountain, if they wanted to learn more about how to grow their own food and how to get started in gardening for themselves, are there any resources out there for them?
Absolutely. We're actually, the Black Mountain Community Garden grows food all winter long, which is one really unique part of this. And they have lettuce and spinach and greens and broccoli, and we actually welcome people to come and rent a plot in the fall. We haven't determined how much that's going to be, but it's a very nominal fee. If you or in your family, you can do a full plot, you can do a half plot, come out here, or if you want to just volunteer, you just say you don't want to commit to a whole plot here, you can just volunteer and take some of the produce home with you.
And are you finding that more and more folks are getting interested?
Absolutely. We've grown from, 12 community gardeners last year to 36 this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and probably expecting even more growth next year.
Even more.
Yeah, more and more expansion.
Absolutely.
All right, well, this is wonderful. And you also do some programs in schools.
We do. We have just last summer, well, I guess at the end of the summer, we started 2 school gardens, one at Black Mountain Primary and one at Black Mountain Elementary School. And we've got a school garden educator, Meg Cole, who's working with the kids. She does a really great job. They get to do everything from seeding and sowing, watering, weeding, and then they get to harvest the produce and try it in the classroom. So they get to try beets and cabbage and all these things that they might not usually get to try.
Do kids tend to like these fresh vegetables better and eat more of them when they're growing their own?
Believe it or not, they do. We had, when we did the beet tasting, we had kids running around the room singing, "I love beets, I love beets."
That's great.
So, yeah.
All right. And of course, you know, food grown yourself is a lot more nutritious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Keep it fresh, keep it local, keep it as close from the ground to the table as possible.
Well, it looks like you're having a lot of fun out here at the Black Mountain Community Garden. I just want to say thanks for the inspiration.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
So a great way to beautify your environment, keep your family healthy, and create beauty in your community gardening and orcharding projects. We hope you've been inspired by some of the folks that you've seen here today on this show. Thanks for staying with us. Eating Healthy in Buncombe County has been brought to you by Healthy Buncombe Physical Activity and Nutrition Coalition in partnership with BCTV. Please check out the websites of some of our partners who can help you get started with your own community gardening and orcharding projects.